Hello students, this is chapter 8.5. It is factoring by GCF, and I hope you have to take your notes out. And our objective is to factor trinomials using GCF, greatest common factor. Now, this will remind you about the distributive property. Remember, you don't remember the distributive property on the left side, but you do remember the distributive property on the right side. Okay? Now, if you look carefully now, when we factor out, look at the bottom of the graph here. What we are looking at the right side is 2 times the quantity of 3x minus 4. That's fully factored because 3x and negative 4, the only factor they have in common is 1. But look at this one, that's not fully factored. 2 is factored out, but 3x and negative 4x have x in common, so that's not fully factored. The answer should have been 2x times the quantity of 3x minus 4x. Now let's look at example number 1. So how do you factor this out? Very simple. What do? The greatest common factor is going to be 2. So you factor the 2 out. Okay? And follow what I'm doing on the screen here. Okay? So we're only going to factor out the 2 because that's the only thing in common they have. And do me a favor, when you finish, check your answers by doing the distributive property and get back your answers. Now let's look at another one. Now here is, for example, a cubic trinomial. Now, what do you think is the common factor that belongs to all three? It's going to be what? It's going to be 4x. 4x. 4x is common to all of them. So you divide everything by 4x to put them in the parentheses, okay? So when you factor the three trinomials, three numbers, this is what we get. So the common factor is going to be 4x, the one in the red, and that's your final answer. Now remember, if you do the distributive property, you will get the answer the same way, and that checks. All right, how about this one? We have negative 14x minus 12x squared. Now, what's common to both of them? Only what? 2x, okay? But do remember, both of them are negative, therefore you have to factor the negative out. And this is the answer we get. So how do you check you are correct? Please do the reverse of the distributive property and that checks. And now, when you factor out a negative, don't forget to carry it through all the way, okay? Now, here's another example we're going to do. Here's another trinomial. Now remember, what is common to all three? Keep looking. You will find none. There is no common factor. If there is no common factor, it's only one, and you call it unfactorable or not factorable, okay? So there's only one so if the polynomial cannot be factored, we call it unfactorable. All right, here's your turn. Please do this, and you can stop the video. And here's the answer. So the common factor is going to be only b. Okay? Check, and you get the answer. Okay? Now, this one you can do again. Please pause the video. Okay, you may have guessed it, there is nothing in common, so we call it unfactorable. Only one. Not be factored any further. Here's one you can do on your own. Another pausing of the video, please. Okay, here we go. Now, what's the common to both of them? First of all, both of them are negative, therefore you factor out the negative. Y cubed, y squared, always pick up the smallest exponent, in this case y squared. 18 and negative 7, the common factor is only 1. Therefore, your answer is going to be y squared, and then inside the parentheses is going to be, don't forget to carry the negative 1, is going to be negative 2y squared minus 18y plus 7. Check by doing distributive property and you get it. Here's more. Please pause the video. Okay. Now, so what's common to both of them? We checked that, right? Okay. But that was continuation of the video. Now let's try this together. Now here is the trinomial. Now what do you think the common factor in terms of the numbers is? You guess it? 2. Very good. How about x? Remember, always pick up the one with the smallest exponent. In this case, it's going to be x squared. So your the factor that you're going to factor out is going to be 2x squared. And then you divide everything by 2x. Okay? And here's the work you are doing. Okay? And here's our answer. And then do the distribute property to get the answer back. Okay, very good. Now, to write an expression for the length with the width of the rectangle with the area expression by polynomial, you need to write the polynomial as a product of, and you can write a polynomial as a product of by factoring it. Now, if I gave you this application, what would you do? You want to find out the area of the squash area, okay? So how do you do that? 9x squared plus 6x. Remember, we're doing length times width. So to find which one is the length, which is the width, you factor. So what can we factor out of this? Of course, it's going to be 3x. I hope you guessed that. Okay, 3x is factored out. And then when we're done, it's going to be 3x times 3x plus 2. So one side is 3x, the other one is 3x plus 2. And then, of course, you can check by multiply. Now, here's another one. The area of a solar panel, 2x squared plus 4x. So what do you factor out? Again, 2x. Very good. You got it. It's becoming simpler now, right? And we get this as an answer. Okay? All right. Now, sometimes GCF terms is a binomial, right? This GCF is called common binomial factor. Okay? Look at the common binomial factor. Now, in this case, what I want you to look at is 5 is multiplying the quantity of x plus 2, and 3x is multiplying x plus 2. In this case, they are the same, identical ones. Therefore, we group the 5 and 3x together, and it multiplies x plus 2. I'm going to explain this more in the classroom, okay? So remember, x plus 2 is the same, x plus 2, it's been multiplied by 5 and 3x. And then you put them together, and this is your final answer. Now let's do the second one. Negative 2b, what else is outside b squared plus 1? Is 1, right? So you multiply, you combine negative 2b plus 1, and then b2 minus plus b2 plus 1 is the same, identical to both of them. Therefore, the common factors are multiplying the other common factor. So here's the final answer. You can stop the video and pay attention to it. So the red one is the same to both the negative 2b and plus 1. Now here's another example. Now look at the both of them. Are they identical? Z squared minus 7 is not the same like 2z cubed plus 1. Therefore, this is done. We can do now more. It's already factored, okay? Cannot be filled anymore. Okay, here's your turn. Please pause the video. Okay, here's the answer. Your first answer, and then here's the second answer. Okay, very good. I hope you... Now, how about this ones? Here's the answer. Cannot be factored. Now look at the second one. They are identical, therefore we can factor it. Very good. Okay, you may be able to factor a polynomial by grouping. Now this is a very interesting thing. So I'll show you the first one by grouping. Now remember, there is 2 as a common factor to both, to all of them, but the h is not all. So if you put parentheses between 6h the fourth minus 4h cubed, and then the other parenthesis goes on 12h minus 6, okay? That's what we're going to do, okay? We group them like that. Now factor out what's common to both of them. So what's going to happen, factor both of them. The factor is going to be 2h cubed for the first one, and then 4 for the second one. Just like we did in the other screen, we are going to combine them. And this is our final answer. Okay, I hope this is new to you, so be careful. Let's try one. Now we are going to do by grouping, okay? So what can we factor out from both sides? Apparently, we can distribute. Okay, I'm sorry, we're still checking, sorry. And then here's our final answer. All right. How about here? Where can we put our grouping? 5y to the fourth minus 15y cubed will be grouped, and y squared and negative 3y will be also grouped. Okay, so here we go. Now factor out whatever is common from both parentheses. In the first one is going to be what? 5y cubed, and the other one is going to be y. Okay, you got it? So you're going to put the red together and the black together, and this is what we get. Okay, I hope you got it. It seems to be straightforward. Now, factor each polynomial by grouping. Check your answers. We check our answer, and we'll get the same thing. Okay. Okay. How about you try this on your own? Remember grouping. Go. Stop the video now. And here's the answer. Okay. And when you check your answer, you'll get the same thing. Okay. It came to the same thing that we started. Okay. Yeah, try this one too. Pause the video, please. And here's the answer. Okay. How about this one? It checked. Okay, now here's a very interesting one. Look at 5 minus x and then x minus 5. These are called opposites because if you put any number in there, it will give you the 0. So opposites, right? So how can we work with two opposites? So if you have a number, 5 minus x is the opposite of x minus 5. But if we can factor out the negative from one of them, we could make them the same. Okay, you factor out the negative 1, right? And then it becomes, the one becomes x minus 5, and then the other one would be 5 minus x, which is the same thing. So 5 minus x is going to equal to negative 1 times x5. Okay, now here's the example by the opposites. Okay, factoring with opposites. You ready? Okay, here we go. Now group them. Then what do we factor out? 2x cubed and 12x squared will be 2x squared, and then from the other one is going to be 3. Okay, and now we put them together, but unfortunately x minus 6 and 6 minus x are opposite. They're not the same, so we need to factor out the 1, and we factor out the 1. Now they have become identical, but remember we have a negative that we have to carry out, and here's going to be our final answer. Now here's your turn. Please pause the video, and here's the answer. And you check your answer, and you get the same thing back. Okay, this one too. Please pause the video. And here's the answer. And it checked. Okay, now please pause the video and take the quiz, and I'll show you the answer. Here's another one. Pause the video, please, and I'll show you the answer now. Well, you have any questions, please ask me tomorrow in class. Thank you very much.